suggesting that it was disingenuous somehow in the signing, or there was an expectation of not complying, or what?
Well, I'm just saying that we have to keep this in mind. Let's keep all dimensions in mind. Did they have no intention of living up to this agreement when they signed it? And is that why they had that clause in there? I'm not saying that. I don't know. I'm just asking questions.
Okay.
But we have to be aware, and I believe that the Phase 1 trade agreement is a very small, it's a very small part of the story.
Money in the shadows. Money now going into our political process, as you know so well, to reinforce this tax code.
That's right, reinforce the tax code, which has led America to be the country with the highest level of inequality of any of the advanced countries.
That's the moment that the brain gets so organized and so coherent. The front of the brain's talking to the back of the brain, the right side of the brain's talking to the left side of the brain. There's this synchronization, this psychic union going on.
Like a flow.
And the person, tears of joy rolling down their face. That gestalt moment, that transcendent event for the person is completely subjective. But my interest is measuring that subjective experience. And we're capturing amplitudes of energy in people's brains that are 26,000 to 40,000 times normal during that experience.
We look to the media to tell us about what matters, but it cares predominantly about what will excite us. Sometimes the two categories coincide. What's most important in the world may be what's most immediately exciting too. But usually that's not the case. We're built to have an almost irresistible attraction to certain stories involving power, fame, disaster and sex, and yet we're tempted to yawn about schools developing world problems and the money supply. We're not evil. It's just the equivalent of our fatal weakness for processed sugar, fat and salt, and the media does everything it can to exploit this.
Despite what their orgies and brothels would have you think, the Romans weren't big on sharing, and Caesar invaded Gaul and annexed it to the Roman Empire in 51 BC. After the collapse of the Roman Empire, the Franks took over Gaul. First, the Merovingian dynasty led by Clovis I, then the Carolingian dynasty, featuring important figures such as Charles Martel, Pepin the Short, and Charlemagne.
In particular, there were two mentors. One was somebody who passed away last year, who was one of the world's foremost, if not the foremost, experts on leadership, who was considered the pioneer of modern leadership theory. And also, he had a colleague who I worked with who was known as one of the top practitioners of leadership, one of the most gifted actual leaders in practice. And I'd get together with these gentlemen, and we'd talk about the ideals and realities of leadership.
They showed us that in the midst of great strife, there can be even greater unity. It is in this spirit that I, on behalf of the Captain's Council, commence this Festival of the Four Winds.
Those are my 15 favourite books of 2019. As I mentioned, they're all linked down below if you would like to go and check them out. Have you read any of these? Would you like to, now you've heard me gush about them in this video? Please let me know in a comment down below, and also let me know what your favourite books of 2019 were as well, because I would love to know. I will be back with another video soon. I hope you're having a great start to the week. Lots of bookish love. Bye.
I do have a little bit of a commission, and that I've included in my salary of $42,000. So it can fluctuate depending on what my commission rate is at any particular time.
But I think that there can be short-term decisions about the kind of federal dollars that are available now with a revenue stream to pay them back in the future that would bridge the gap if we can't do everything that we need to do to really give the economy and job creation the kind of boost that it needs. But I'm not going to commit myself to that, because I would like first to pay for what we're going to do, because I think that we've had a period where the gains have gone to the wealthy.
The fourth thing I already alluded to, but you have more time, and time is really the most valuable, what's the word I'm looking for? Commodity? Because it's something that can never be bought. It's something that you can't get back once you've lost it or spent it. So you have more time, and you should utilize that time to figure out what you want, who you want to become, what life you want to create for yourself.
It's got its own journey, but police citron as a research project, as we've come out with the kind of the technology that allows us to communicate with people, with an audience live, and we've got a performance that is specifically about making dance from people's stories. So that was what we ended up with.
You didn't see it in his own patients. And so he asked the question, how many did we do? And he wanted to get the data. It took him 3 months. No one had asked this question in his community before. And what he found was that for the 300,000 people in their community, in the previous year they had done 52,000 CT scans.
Gimbal can also rotate 360 degrees continuously, so it never needs to be reset. The M600 is compatible with the DJI Zenmuse camera line and allows full camera control of shutter speed, ISO, f-stop, frame rate, and more. By connecting DJI Focus to Lightbridge 2, operators can pull focus with any camera setup that falls within its maximum payload.
Cars, jewelry, electronics, all of it they sold, the proceeds they kept, and they would have kept right on doing it had it not been for a class action lawsuit. Our team's class action lawsuit. Thank you. We forced them to change their forfeiture practices and to compensate victims.
Inspired you to do this book now?
So many people have asked me to come out with a book of my columns on particular topics, and that was one of the topics that was of the greatest concern. How do I get over a heartbreak? How do I get over a divorce or an affair? How do I keep my heart open through these kinds of traumas, you know, these painful experiences in life? So I decided to compile those columns on that topic and self-publish a book. And the title just came to me, and I thought, that is so perfect, right? Because if we are going through a difficulty in a good way, then yes, we are broken open by it. We are broken open by it, which means we are bigger than we were before, right? We're bigger than we were before, right? We are open to all possibilities. So it's been a joy, and I've heard wonderful things from people who have read the book, and that's exciting for me.
In the same way, we're communicating a value when we mostly compliment girls for their pretty hair or their pretty dress, but boys for their intelligence. Or when we choose to offer candy as opposed to nutritious food as a reward for good behavior. Adults and children are incredibly effective at picking out values from these subtle behaviors. And in turn, this ends up shaping their own behavior.
We have time for one more question that requires a little bit less complex of an answer.
Okay. We'll explore methods for comprehending and critiquing research, and we will investigate how to apply research findings as pedagogical techniques in the classroom. Whether you are currently or aspire to be an educator, being able to find, understand, and apply educational research will be essential to helping you be successful in your career. And staying current with research is an essential component of being an impactful 21st century instructor.
Because if no one's admitting mistakes, those mistakes will compound. If people are doing jobs that they don't know how to do, and they're lying, hiding, and faking, that means the output will be weak. The irony is when people hide their fallibility, their humanity, it actually makes the company weak. But when